Welcome to the Flex Forward podcast, where grit meets growth. With your host, Nic Espanet, bringing you stories of resilience, reinvention, and the real climb to success.
All right, everyone, welcome to the Flex Forward podcast. Today, we're joined by Regina Bradley. Regina is an executive-level client success expert. She works with Cotivity, I'll let her give a little more information about her company and what she does there. Regina, I'm so glad to have you today. Thanks for joining us on the Flex Forward podcast. Can you let our listeners know a little more about you and what you do on a regular basis?
Sure, I'd be happy to. And thank you so much, Nic. I'm honored to be here today and would love to tell you a little bit about myself. You know, I've spent probably more than 20 years really building client partnerships, leading teams, and really helping healthcare organizations navigate change through, through meeting results, right? So along the way, I've had great opportunities. I've had the opportunity to work for Fortune 20 companies. I've worked for startups, and I've even worked for my company now, a private equity backed organization, right? But if there's one thing that I've learned, that each experience really has shaped who I am as a leader today. And I've really learned that while, business strategies and technology continue to evolve, success really still comes down to the people, building trust, developing others, and really creating relationships that last. So today, if you'll allow me, I'm really just excited to share some of the lessons that I've learned throughout my journey, both professionally and personally.
I'd love it. Yeah, I'd love to hear. So in the corporate world, there's lots of competition. What is something that sets you apart from others that are maybe doing the same thing or something similar?
One of the things that I take a lot of pride in is really just understanding my client, understanding the ever evolving environment of healthcare, understanding what is happening in the market, what's happening with government regulations and federal changes that may be coming down the pipe, and also having a lot of competitive market intelligence, right? Understanding what our competitors are doing and what are we doing that's better and perhaps more innovative.
Oh, great stuff. Is there something that you find comes easy for you that others may have found challenging? It's more just a natural gift for you?
One of the things I've learned is really just, I guess what I was, learning more is really just kind of working through different companies and organizations, right? So one of the things that my title, it's changed over the years, but my purpose really hasn't, right? My career has really always been about building those relationships, solving problems, and really creating that value, not only for clients, but for employees and for the organizations that I've served. Fortune 20 companies really have taught me a lot about discipline, about processes, governance, and really how to operate at scale. But startup companies and environments, they taught me really how to be comfortable with ambiguity. I can't pronounce that word, but just being more agile, being able to move quickly, and being able to wear multiple hats, right? The company I'm at now, we really are emphasized on growth, on measurable outcomes, and really creating value quickly for our organizations. One of the things that I've learned, though, is that leadership just isn't a one size fits all, right? I've learned that great leaders don't lead everyone the same way. Every company is different. Every company has different cultures and different values, and every team has different needs. My leadership style really has evolved from directing work to really coaching people. And today I really spend a lot of my time doing not just working on the client side of things and doing client engagement, but investing in people and investing back into my organization. I do that through getting involved in employee engagement initiatives, getting involved in our annual Net Promoter Score surveys that go out to our clients, getting involved at all levels of the organization, not just within client engagement.
That's awesome. And you said something that really struck home to me is being more of a coach type leader, because then a couple of things, you're helping them to improve, but they also have ownership, that your team members have ownership. And if you do X, Y, and Z, they're just doing your plan. And they may do a great job, but if you coach them and help them come up and maybe nudge them towards that, where you want them to go, they have ownership. It's their project, their job. To me, they're more invested, and they're going to work harder. They're going to, strive more to get there, and should feel comfortable coming to you if they have a problem. If there's a challenge and you said do X, Y, Z, and it's not going in that order, they may
Right.
be scared to come. Whereas if you've coached them along, like, hey, can you help me? I don't quite understand how to get from this point to this point, or something along
Right.
those lines, can really help, them feel comfortable coming back for feedback.
Sure. Absolutely. One of the things that I've learned is that you can never invest too much in your people, right? Employee engagement is key. I've done everything from, again, mentoring people to, helping to reduce attrition, creating new committees to really drive employee engagement. But business results and people environment and people development, they really aren't competing priorities, right? I've always considered them to be really connected, right?
Yeah,
One of
for
one of
sure.
my favorite accomplishments isn't revenue growth. It's really watching the people that I've mentored really becomes leaders themselves, and that success to me really compounds over time,
Sure.
right? So yeah, being engaged really, really does matter. And people don't stay because of free lunches, right, Nick? They stay because they feel like they've been seen, they feel valued, and they believe someone really cares about their growth.
Yeah.
So again, I've always believed that my career has excelled because of the great mentors and leaders that I've had throughout my career, and I love, paying that forward and making sure that I'm there for others that need it.
That's so important. So if someone's listening and wants to get better at doing something, you know, being a leader, or do you have any recommendations for them or any tips you can give them?
Sure. I would say that, you really want to take the time to listen to your people. As a leader, you need to spend more time listening than you do talking, right? And understand that every employee and every department has different needs, and what drives them and motivates them is going to be different. So you really need to understand your audience, understand your people. One of the things that I also make sure to do is take that time to really spend with my folks, right? So, especially working in a remote environment. This is a great
Mhm.
example because obviously, early in my career, I was able to lead by walking the floor, right? I was able to read body language. I was able to stop by someone's desk or celebrate wins in person by bringing cupcakes into the office, right?
Mhm.
But now our leadership really requires being more intentional with our communications, right? It requires more frequent touch bases, building that trust, having that visibility. That means having those one-on-ones, scheduling those weekly or bi-weekly one-on-ones. If our only conversations with your team happens in scheduled meetings, then you're probably missing what's really going on, right? You really have to take the time to have those informal conversations because really relationships are built between meetings, not during meetings.
Very well said. Exactly. That's, yeah. Because in the meeting, you're trying to get things accomplished. You can have a little small talk, but if you're there to get goals, you need to build the relationships, and relationships are so important. And any business you're in, relationships within your organization and with your customers, also your outward facing relationships are so important also.
Absolutely. And it's always about making sure that you're building kind of a reputation for yourself, because I've left organizations and moved on to others. And it was my network of people, the folks that I've worked with at previous organizations, clients that I had previously partnered with or counseled. Those are the ones that really helped accelerate my career and put me in positions that, allowed me to, take care of my family and really create a title for myself within the healthcare industry. I've always said, from the inside looking out, healthcare looks huge. It looks massive, but
Hmm.
really, when you take a look at it, it's not. It's a small population, and we're all here to kind of lean in on each other. And your reputation will precede itself, especially when you work with large health plan accounts or other healthcare organizations, because they all talk to one another.
No, for sure. And when you never want to burn bridges when you
No.
leave, because you never know when you might need. I've got a 20, 18, and 14-year
Mhm.
old daughters, and like, always want to maintain relationships no matter what. Even if
Right.
you feel like you're never going to go back. I had a daughter that was waiting tables before she went to college. I'm like, leave on good terms. Don't just burn them and not show up. Give them notice. And probably within an industry, it happens a lot. People just disappear, but you never know if you're going to want to come back for a summer job or a reference, or who knows where in life. That always leave like you're going to. It sounds selfish. Always leave like you're going to need that person or that relationship. But if you think about it that way, and you should just do the right thing, kind of the golden rule. You don't. There's things you don't do, but just thinking from a relationship standpoint, always try to leave on a good term.
Absolutely. I mean, honestly, relationships are everything, right? Because clients and even employees, if you're a leader, they're going to remember how you made them feel. Employees remember whether you invested in them. And those relationships really have opened more doors in my career than any title ever has, really, right? Early in my career, success, it was the promotions, it was the revenue growth. But today, it's really still just delivering business results, but it's also measured by the people that I've helped grow. It's the trust that I've built with clients. And it's whether I can look back knowing that I've made a positive impact, right, on the organizations and the people that I've served throughout my career.
Yeah, good stuff. So what's one of the biggest challenges you feel like you've had to overcome in your career path?
Oh, that's a good one. I think one of the biggest challenges is really just navigating the ever evolving change. Obviously prior to COVID, I was an in the office person. I love being on, feet on the ground, in the office, able to go from desk to desk. And obviously with COVID, that changed not only how we interact with clients, because rarely ever get on a plane and go see and sit down with a client in person anymore, nor do I have the luxury of going into an office and meeting with my employees on a daily basis. So it's just navigating those changes, and navigating that you can still have a strong relationship with the people that you are working with, that you're partnering with. You just, again, have to be more intentional in how you do it. And yeah, just making sure that you have the confidence, you keep those close relationships, don't burn any bridges, and always be willing to pay it forward, right? Lean in and help those that are under you or part of your organization, because by them succeeding, everyone succeeds.
For sure, definitely. The rising tide floats all boats, so that's great stuff. Well, congratulations. Sounds like things are going very well for business, and it's a lot of busy executives start getting more and more involvement. You also may think of creating some outside income or different. It was like when I was doing as a physical therapist, I had to see patients some income. So have you ever considered outside investment or doing things that create passive income or mailbox money, anything like that?
I get contacted all the time on LinkedIn about franchising or being, a private consultant, and getting away from the whole, corporate environment. And I haven't taken that leap yet. Right now, I feel like I'm still growing and I'm still learning. Right now, I feel like there's still a lot for me to learn in my career. I've got some new great leaders. Being at Cotiviti has been an amazing experience. The leaders here are incredibly helpful, insightful. They really believe and truly invest in their people. And so I've only been here for about a year and a half, and I'm really eager to kind of see where this position takes me and continue to learn and grow within the organization that I'm at. But those opportunities are always there, and if I ever want to seek one out, that opportunity exists. But no, I'm certainly happy where I am, and I'm happy working with the clients that I've serviced over the last 20 years as well.
Well, that's awesome. So as we're wrapping up the interview, do you have any exciting plans or initiatives in the next 6 to 12 months?
No exciting initiatives or plans, really. For me, it's just about continuing to be that partner and that consultant. Obviously, things change, in our political environment all the time. Things change within healthcare regulations, and just keeping my nose and ears to the ground, paying attention to things that could either negatively or positively impact my clients, so that I can, bring those things to their attention and really help drive them, and provide recommendations that are going to create longevity and initially, savings, right, for them along the way. So that's it. And just surviving summer with two boys and a husband that are home full time right now.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That we've got all 3 daughters home from school right now. So for 4 or 5 more weeks, and then 2 of the 3 will be heading back to school. But yeah, it's big fun, but yeah, ready for them to go to, and I know they're ready. So Regina, thank you so much for joining us today. If people want to get in touch with you, learn more about you and what it is you do, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
Absolutely. You can find me on LinkedIn under Regina Bradley. You can also I have an actual portfolio, a webfolio online. It's reginabradley.com, all one word. And that is really a great picture and view of all of the work that I've done throughout my career. That portfolio and online website was personally created by a good friend of mine, Courtney Todd, who actually owns a marketing firm here in the Fort Worth area called Umlaut Agency. I believe y'all may be meeting with Courtney in a few more interviews later on. But yeah, but no, I say go to that portfolio. You can contact me. My information is on there or through LinkedIn.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. It's been a great time getting to learn more about you and what it is you do. And I really appreciate you sharing everything with our listeners. And listeners, thank you for listening. Be sure to like and share and keep tuning back in. Regina, thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to the Flex Forward podcast. If you've got grit, growth, and a great story, visit flexforwardpodcast.com/guest to apply and join us on the show.